Hello, 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 Increase family. I am here tonight with our go-to therapist, Therapist Kristina Johnson. I am so excited to have her here with us tonight. Listen, y'all want to get into it. Go ahead and tag and share and invite people. We are on. This is Increase Plus by way of Increase Magazine. And Christina is our marriage therapist all 2025. And we have been extremely blessed by her expertise with Increase Magazine. And so, listen, we started the year with her and we're going to end the year with her, okay? Because a lot of you said you wanted her back. You wanted to hear what she had to say. And I'm going to provoke Christina on tonight to give us what we're looking for, all right? Y'all got to get excited about that. I said I'm going to provoke her, all right, to leave this live empty, okay? Because I know she full. I know she full, okay? And we trying to get what she have to offer. So all of you that are new to this, but you true to this, I'm going to ask, is it okay if I call you Dr. Christina? Because it's all in my throat, okay? I got to call you that. I got to provoke you tonight, okay? Dr. Christina, okay? Dr. Christina is, listen, she's not just a therapist, but she is a marriage counselor, and she is also a Christian, okay? That means something to me, okay? I'm looking for kingdom citizens that are going to enter into the marketplace and help us for real. Because the truth of the matter is, if the church had real power, I'm talking about power, how to live right, how to talk right, okay, how to love right, how to resolute right, we wouldn't have to go outside of the church to get what we need. But listen, God has blessed and anointed some kingdom citizens in the marketplace who operate in integrity, that operate with the fruit of the Spirit, that operate with the ability to be able to help us. So that's why we need therapists, Dr. Christina. We need therapists and we need altars. All right. I'm saying we need couches and altars in this thing, because in the church, we ain't got no integrity. And you hear me? There ain't no integrity. I can listen. I go to my sister and I share with my sister what's going on with me, and she ill equipped in helping me get out of the place called stuck. Right? They want to shabba dabba dabba do me. They want to lay hands on me, but they ain't got the strategies or the instructions to help me stay delivered. Okay, and so that's why we need you, Dr. Christina. Okay. And can you please introduce us to you? Tell us who you are, who your husband is, how many kids you got, where you live, where you reside, who your pastor them is. Okay. Can you help us on tonight and tell us who you are?
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Varnum, for that wonderful introduction. I agree completely. We definitely need kingdom citizens in some of these rooms and places, right? We need kingdom citizens. We have the multitude. We just gotta get it together, right? And so, my name is Christina, as Dr. Varnum has already introduced me. I am a licensed social worker, board certified social worker. I have my certification in trauma informed care through NYU, and I have a master's degree in advanced clinical social work from Columbia University. I am currently a supervisee in a therapy as well. That just means that I'm just working on getting the rest of my hours so I can work independently. And that is something that I am pursuing, and it's something that I'm getting ready to obtain quite here shortly. I work right now as a psychotherapist for an amazing online virtual telehealth company named Backpack Health. Backpack Health, we provide mental health care for a wide range of people, children, youth, and families, as well as individuals. So if you're somebody that's looking for mental health care services or resources, head on over to backpackhealth.com, and hopefully we can find somebody that can help you and support you in that area. I'm a veteran. I am a mother of 3 and a wife. My husband is currently active duty in the military. He's been in now for 22 years. He's been in now for 22 years, and he is currently a captain and looking prayerfully to get advanced. So we should hear soon about those results. And so I am, just somebody that is really trying to help people mentally and emotionally. I also Have my own business, as you can see in the back, Well of Hope Counseling and Consulting, where I provide marriage counseling to married couples. I also provide mentorship and coaching to wives and women that are looking to be wives. I also provide resources to veterans and active duty military members, along a broad range of just different resources and support. I'm a 3-time author. I just released 2 books. One of my books is called Cheat Codes, the Empowerment Manual for the Wife. You can find that on my website at www.wellofhopecares.com or on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. My second book that I just also released is an anthology. It's called A Note to My Healed Self. You can find that also on Amazon in the Kindle form. So if you need to reach me, you can reach me. And that's a little bit about me.
I love it. I love it. Do anybody else like it? Come on, put some snaps in the chat. Okay, come on, snap it up. Okay, I love educated, amen, women. Okay, I love educated women. I love women who know what they're talking about and being what they have invested in themselves. Listen, come on, it's too many of us out here trying to be experts and we ain't invested in nothing. We ain't invested in no real, true education. And I love to hear and I love to see it. I did not know that your husband was still active duty. Now I knew that he was, I thought he was a veteran, but he's still active duty. I love that. I love, listen, that when I was in the military, I told the captains what to do. Okay, even though I was enlisted, because they needed my help. Okay, but now that I'm out, I can appreciate those who are on the front line. I have a lot of honor, not only just for him, but for you, because it's not easy being a military wife, baby. Okay, active duty, it is not, right? So I give it up to you, and I thank you for being a help to them. Because one thing about us, transition happens to us often, whether it's through a move, emotionally, having a baby, being separated from family. So your expertise is needed, right? And so I wish I had known more about that, okay, part of you in 2025. But don't worry, this party just started, okay? Listen, I want to welcome you again for being here and taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here and elevate us, right? And even if they're not online presently, they come. Okay, they coming back to watch the replay because they be watching me. Y'all ain't gotta like that. Listen, the live and the videos show me there be a 1.2 million people watching my replay. So y'all be watching me, okay? So I'm telling you, Dr. Kristina, don't be moved by the numbers, right? Because they watching and they see you. There is exposure and there is a visibility that's happening tonight. But my first question for you tonight is, we're talking about endurance over outcomes, okay? And I want to know from you, what does that mean? What does endurance over outcomes mean?
When we're talking about, and that's a wonderful question, Dr. Varnum, because a lot of times when we're talking about trauma-informed care or care period, when we think about mental health, we have these predetermined outcomes that we put in our heads, right? And so trauma-informed care, when we talk about endurance over outcomes, we're focusing on the process. We're focusing on enduring the process. It's recognizing the trauma, recognizing what's going on, and recognizing that there may be some sort of catalyst that's making us feel a certain kind of way, right? And so endurance is the catalyst that says, it doesn't matter what my outcome is. As long as I'm in the process, as long as I'm working toward the betterment of my mental health, the betterment of my family, as long as we're working together to strive for greater, that is what's important. Many times what happens is when people focus on the outcomes, too many times when the outcome doesn't happen like they want it to happen, or they feel like it's taking too much time, they step outside of the process and begin to make their trauma their platform. Instead of waiting on the healing process. And I tell people a lot too, that healing is not a destination. We're all focusing on healing consistently on a daily basis. Every single one of us has something that we're dealing with. It looks different, right? But and then also, Dr. Varnum, if you look around at everything that's going on, it's anxiety driven. The news is anxiety induced. So it's so much stuff going on. So to answer your question, endurance in the process is more important than an outcome, because when we think of outcome, we think of, oh, the process is over, I'm good, I'm healed, and in all actuality, we're not. So the endurance over the outcome, focusing on the process and focusing on pushing through even when it gets messy. That's what it is. That's why it's so much more important to focus on the endurance rather than an outcome.
So, my next question to you is, when did the shift happen for you from outcomes to endurance, whether it's personally or professionally? When did the shift happen?
Honestly, Dr. Varnum, it's when I begin to become educated. A lot of what I've learned in education in academia has taught me that our words have meaning, and not only in academia, but in my spiritual life. Right? If I can speak something into the atmosphere and cause my situation to change, right? That might not happen right away. What it's going to take for me to do, it takes consistency, endurance. Endurance works out our patience. It's a process. So for me, I would say maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, I learned that the outcomes that I was looking for a destination in my own life. And when I realized that the destination never showed up, I realized that there has to be another way. What can I do to keep myself, my mind, and my nervous system in a safe place when I go through these trials and tribulations? I have to endure. It's biblical. I have to endure the process. And so I would say about 5 or 6 years ago, I realized I'm doing this wrong. I'm looking for an outcome that may never, not ever come. And if I do receive some form of solidification, it's not going to look like somebody else's.
Right.
It might not even look like what I want or what I desire. So that's about 5 or 6 years ago, I realized I need to do something different,
Right.
because I'm putting myself in a position to re-traumatize myself,
Wow.
and that's not fair to me. Mm-hmm.
So I want to be, for the sake of clarity for those, because we highly intellectual. I'm gonna be the down to earth, and you're gonna be the high. Okay, I'm gonna be, yeah. You gonna be at the top of the tree, and I'm gonna be the low hanging fruit tonight, right? I'm gonna get a little down to earth. Okay, so we're talking about endurance over outcomes in trauma informed care. Okay, I want to make sure I put emphasis on the trauma informed care. So for our audience, what is the framework of trauma informed care? What is that? What is it, and what is it not?
So when we think about trauma informed care, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's trauma, identifying the trauma, whatever happened to the client, the patient, right? And it's informing the client or the patient on how to better care for themselves, right? It's understanding that the effects of trauma have some sort of response on us, right? So understanding that whether it's violence, whether it's grief, whether it's abuse, neglect, whatever kind of trauma it is, the provider uses this approach to focus specifically on a patient-centered approach, right? Focus on safety, focus on trust, choice, accountability, empowerment, affirmation. So it takes the question that says, what's wrong with you? And it turns it into what happened to you, right? And so that's what trauma informed care is. It's we identify a trauma, give some psychoeducation about what trauma is, identify how this trauma is affecting this person or these group of people, and then we provide a person-centered care plan or treatment plan to address that specific trauma.
Okay. So now that we have identified what endurance and over outcomes in trauma informed care, I want to say to y'all, this is about to get kind of deep. Okay. And so all of you that may be still suffering the side effects of trauma, I want to have Dr. Kristina give us some techniques for you who may feel triggered by this live tonight. Okay. I am one who have walked through my own trauma, my own pain, right? And I had to identify some things, and I recognize there are some strategies to help our viewers on tonight who we may say some things that might, you know, bring some things up from the past or even the now. And can you give them some techniques on how to handle that when those things hit them tonight?
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Dr. Varman, for bringing that up. And I just want to say, if you do feel triggered or you do feel overstimulated because of tonight's broadcast, take some time, step away, get some water, do whatever you have to do, because trauma, this topic can be very overstimulating, recognizing that many of us have gone through some type of abuse or neglect or some type of trauma. So thank you, Dr. Varnum, for also bringing that up. A lot of what happens in the therapeutic setting involves behavioral changes. And in order to induce a behavioral change, we have to change our thought processes. And so what I also want to do is change trauma-informed care to trauma-informed approach, because we're not, although I'm a therapist, we're not really in a therapeutic setting. And so if we say trauma-informed approach, anybody can do that. Teachers can do it, family members can do it, coaches can do it, we can do it right here. A trauma-informed approach is, for instance, if you are a family, you have a family, this is a tool you can use. A trauma-informed approach in your home is just looking like getting around the table, having dinner, and talking and communicating with one another. Setting a space for your family to be safe, to voice how they're feeling and their experiences without having to feel judged for their experiences, right? And so communication is very important when we're trying to understand our trauma, and we're trying to allow the environment, make the environment conducive for sharing and for being open. So when we talk about the therapeutic atmosphere, we talk about things such as cognitive behavioral therapy, right? We talk about things such as DBT, EMDR. These are all phrases that we use in a therapeutic setting. And so what I want to really discuss is the tools that you can use at home, right? These tools are more surround the idea that we can use behavioral changes to up our serotonin levels in our brain. A lot of what we feel is because our dopamine levels and our serotonin levels are kind of out of whack. And so the behavioral changes, such as smiling on purpose when you don't feel like it, what that does is it speaks to our brain and the chemistry in our brain. And the more we do it in repetition, it can tell our brains that we feel a certain way that we may not actually be feeling. So instead of feeling down, you can start to feel joy after a while when you practice smiling on purpose, right? You practice smiling on purpose. And there are so many different studies out that actually prove that works, that happen, it works. So smile on purpose, get some sunlight. We can talk about vitamin D deficiency all day, right? But we also have to address the fact that the sun is going down sooner. And then we have something called SAD, which is a type of seasonal depression. Yeah. And so many times when we're going through certain things, we don't pay attention to the atmosphere and what's going on. And many times we're sitting in our houses and they're dark. So I would say get some sun, go on a walk, journal. Journaling is very good. And many times I tell people that if you have your phone, just jot some notes down on your phone, but get it out. All of these behavioral techniques is for you to get those feelings up and out. Get some sun, sit down with people or, your family members at home, have a discussions, open it up for those hard conversations, right? Even with your children, allow your children to come and talk to you about those things that you may not want to hear. Because at the same time, when our children address things with us, we have to self-reflect, because we can be putting something out there and subconsciously not realizing that it's affecting our children negatively. Right. So we self-reflect, journal, get some sun, smile on purpose, set healthy boundaries with your family, your friends, on your job. Set healthy boundaries. That's very important. Some other tools you can use at home: breathing, deep breathing. You could do rhythmic deep breathing, right? Or you can breathe anywhere, because we have to breathe. So you could be at the store, we got to breathe to survive. So deep breathing, what that does is it opens up our lungs and it gets more oxygen to our brain. So do some deep breathing activities, some meditation, of course, prayer. Read your word, pray, worship. Do the things that make you joyful and get you to a place to where you can regulate your emotions. Because all of this that we're talking about right now is about regulating our emotions.
Wow. Okay. I love that. I definitely was looking for the breathing because that's one of the big things. The other, I love that you said step away because I did some little research on my own before you got here, so I know all. Listen, I ain't nobody therapist, okay? I do have a degree in Christian counseling. I do, but it's straight biblical, right? But I recognize that listen, we can't be so heavenly minded that we ain't no earthly good, right? And I realized, as a person who is an apostolic type, I know that there would have to be times where I would have to give therapy to people on a certain level. But then there's some that need a prescription, and I'm sending them to y'all. Okay, they're coming to see y'all. All right, amen. Because I'm only gonna go as far as the Lord allow. Amen. Because many of us have, where I'm going next is so important because I know a lot of you attend churches, okay, or ministries. You're a part of ministries, and you expect your ministry leader to do the things that someone who is specialized in this thing, that is not more knowledgeable, more skilled in an area to do. But I'm gonna tell y'all right now, get y'all coins and go see Therapist Kristina. Okay, I'm telling y'all the truth. Okay, some of y'all need to just go. Right, but I want to talk about mindset. Okay, with our topic tonight. Okay, because I'm one in 2022 and 2024, I lost both of my parents in the same month on the same weekend of Mother's Day weekend in both years. Right. By the time I thought I was, traveling through the process of grieving my father, my mother left. And then I traveled through 2024, trying to rush the process of the trauma of not having closure. Okay, I want to talk about mindset right now in regards to many people who are experiencing trauma, right, or grief, or in those areas they want a quick fix. So I want to ask you, why it is important not to speed your way through a trauma experience, a traumatic event. Why is time important?
Well, Dr. Varnum, thank you for sharing that um, with me and all of us about losing, your parents like that. That is very dramatic, and so I can't imagine. And so, um, taking time to heal is important because when we rush the healing process, we do ourselves a disservice. And a lot of times people rush the healing process because they want to be seen and heard on their own platform. Because we have this thing that when we go through something, we know that we don't just go through something just because. So we're like, we must be called to this place, this position of what we've gone through. And that could be 100% sure, but it could be true, but it might take a year, 2 years, 3 years to get there. And it's important that our mindsets are to think of healing as, like I said earlier, as not an outcome, to think of it as a process. Because when we rush our healing, we not only affect ourselves, we affect all those around us. We affect our family members. We begin to bleed on people. We begin to traumatize people. We begin to hold people hostage. We begin to do things to other people that we're going to be accountable for. We have to reinforce our own feelings and our own inadequacies, our own frustrations. We have to reinforce the fact that we're human. We're still human. We're flesh, we're blood, and we're emotions, and we are hormones. Yes, we're spirit, but the flesh and the spirit battle on a daily basis. So we have to be intentional to reinforce the feelings and our emotions on it, that we have to do the work. We have to sit in it and sit with our shadow long enough to be able to discuss the trauma that we've gone through without being triggered. And the only way we can do that is to spend time with our trauma, to spend time with our grief, to spend time with the thoughts and the things that brought us to this place, right? And to seek help and to seek therapy, to stay in prayer. Think about how much more we would have to give and offer if we would allow ourselves the opportunity to be okay. For real.
You know, one of the greatest advice that I did, the first thing I did after my mother passed, um, because the weight was just too heavy. The first thing I did was try to go get a coach. Okay. Now I want to talk to the business, the entrepreneurs on here. You know, I want to talk to the marketplace leaders. Okay. The first sign of me not wanting to deal with my trauma, I tried to get something to overshadow it. I wanted to get busy. Okay. And the greatest advice I got was uh sis. Not Dr. Varnum, not apostle, not, you know, none of them titles. They said, sis, what you need to do is be still. What you need to do is face what you just walked through. What you need to do is allow yourself time and take all the time you need. And that caused me to go and see a therapist. I needed that real. You need people in your life that is going to tell you to slow down, and so you can hear clearly, right? And that's what happened for me. So everything you said was so powerful. I literally walked through that moment as you were talking. The next thing I want to say to you, ask you, is about endurance, right? Define endurance in a practical and a clinical way. And what does that look like for a regular family on a regular Wednesday night, right? What does endurance look like for them?
Well, endurance is the ability to, will be practical, obviously, right? Endurance is the ability to stand and stand tall in the midst of whatever may be going on. It's falling and getting back up. It's trying and retrying again. It's the understanding that this, what I see today, is not, it may look the same tomorrow, but who cares, right? Who cares? I'm going to press, I'm going to continue to do what I know how to do to stand, even if it's my worst day. I'm going to do what it takes, right? And so whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. And that's what endurance is. You can't be consistent without endurance. They all work together. And healing takes consistency. Healing takes endurance, right? And so what it looks like for a family on a Wednesday night is having an argument, a spouse having an argument, a couple having an argument, and coming back together, not going to bed angry. And it can look like going to bed angry and waking up angry and being angry the next day and coming back together. It doesn't, endurance never ends. It is consistent if you allow it to be. It can look like a child having an issue in school, having an issue with anxiety, having an issue with depression, and not knowing how to verbalize it. And so it can look like them acting out, right? Endurance for that family is looking to see what is going on, not giving up on their child. That is endurance. Not looking for other way out. No, we're not going to look for a way out. We're going to stand here. We're going to get money together, and we're going to clean off together, and we're going to get money again, and we're going to clean off together. And as a matter of fact, I'll wash your back if you wash my feet. That is what it looks like in a family setting, in a family dynamic. Endurance. Wow. So it's hard.
You did almost answer my next two questions. So I'm just going to go ahead with the one, because this one is important to me. Children is a part of my mandate, okay, for ministry. That's one of the things God sent me to the region that I'm in, is to take care of the children, okay? And so I want to say, for a child, can you give me a metaphor of what it looks like for a child enduring during, while going through healing. What does it mean to endure, to grasp what it takes to heal in time?
It looks like acting out. It looks like defiant behavior. It looks like not having the word or the voice to voice how they feel. I don't know about you, Dr. Varner, but I know when I came up as a child, I couldn't have anxiety. I couldn't be depressed because I didn't have a job. Why? Why am I walking around here depressed and I'm a child? As we mature, we realize that children do suffer from anxiety and depression. They suffer from so many different things. Look at society. They deal with things unspoken, right? So a lot of what I see in some of what I do is defiant behavior. And the parent not knowing how to address it. A lot of what I see is the parent chastising more so rather because they don't know how to address it. They don't know. They just know that their child is acting out. So my thing is to find out what is making this child act out. Is there a word? Is there a voice to it? Right? And so that's my job to figure out what the voice is, what the word is, and perhaps there's some bullying going on at school.
Yeah.
Right? Perhaps there's something that they just don't feel comfortable talking to their parent about. And so that's and so enduring for their child can be doing what they know how to do.
Yeah. I think
Whatever
even children should have the opportunity to sit with a therapist. I think, because what I learned about my son at 14. Yeah, listen, y'all, I'm super transparent, right? Because I really believe in taking the time um, to help people. My life is my ministry, literally. So my family know that, right? They were born into this. So I'm going to say that my son, at the age of 14, 15, I took him to see a therapist because I realized that he wasn't communicating the way that he used to, right? Um, I've never been a boy before. Surprise, right? Um, my husband, a lot of people don't know this, but my husband was on the shy side as a child. And some of the things that he knew how to do, his mother and father did not even know that he knew how to do it because all they knew that he was shy at a certain age, but they never took the time to identify that he grew out of the shyness, right? He changed. But they said, oh, he just shy all the way till he was like 20 something years old. They kept saying he's shy. I'm like, who they talking about? Because I ain't never met that person, right? But my son started digressing into a person that was an introvert, if you would say, Um, and so I said, well, maybe he needs to talk to somebody that's not us. And lo and behold, he did, right? And I afforded him the opportunity to have those conversations with that therapist without me in the room because there were some things he just did not want me to know. Is that fair? You know? And he's different. Now he's then he started excelling in school where he was failing everything. Now he's passing everything because he needed an outlet where he didn't, can I be fair and say he wasn't judged? Because maybe he felt like mama this might hurt her feelings, you know. One of them was, well, maybe I don't want to go away to college. Maybe that's something you planned for me all my life, but I don't want to go away. Yeah, my sister went away to college, but I want to go to a local college. And so those were some things that I had to allow him to endure and walk through on his own. And I had to give him space to make a choice. Is that fair? Amen. And so the next thing I want to go to is the pillars of trauma informed care, right? I want to talk about some of the pillars like safety, trust, choice, and collaboration. It's kind of like what I just talked about with my son. I would like for you to tell us how that translates to a family at home.
The fact that I love your transparency, Dr. Varner. I always have. So thank you for that, because we need to hear some of what actually transpires in the lives of the ones that have gone through, have walked through, and endured. But some of the pillars we talk about: safety, trust, choice, right? Collaboration, affirmation, empowerment. As a therapist, I always go to safety first. Safety first is the most important thing. And so at home, in your home life, how can we enforce safety? Not just physical safety, but mental safety, right? The atmospheres in our homes are very important. When we come home, we expect to be safe. We expect to be safe with the people that love us, that care about us. Not even just when we come home, but we expect our children to be and us to be safe at school, on our jobs. We expect that safety, but the honest truth of the matter is, we can't. We know that we're safe at home. All these other places that we go to, and that we pick up things, and that we share things with other people, we're not necessarily safe. So for our children, I would say open up communication, right? Don't repeat what they share. They have to, in order for them to trust you, right? As a parent.
I ain't gonna lie, that's why he didn't want to talk to me. Okay, he said, "You talk too much. You tell too much of my business." Okay.
Yes. We get on the phone and they all run into each other. Safety and trust. We have to actually allow our children to have a choice. Like you talked about your son. We want the best for our children, right? And we are their parents. So we lead and we guide them. But they are still human beings. They have a choice in what they eat. They have a choice in what they like to wear, as long as it's not provocative and out there, looking all kinds of crazy. They have a choice. When we take their choice away from them, that takes a piece of them. Collaboration. Talk to your child about the things that they like. Have conversation about goals and future planning. How can I collaborate with you on the things that you want to do? Because I'm interested in your life. Have conversations with your spouse. There's some spouses that I talk to, Dr. Varnum, they don't even know their spouses, their aspirations, their goals. How can I collaborate with you as a spouse, as a parent, as your child gets older, as your marriage grows? So we have safety, we have trust, we have choice, collaboration, empowerment, affirmations are a root in affirming and empowerment. If we don't get it at home, the kids especially will look for it somewhere else. They have a desire to be empowered. They have a desire to be affirmed. And so as parents, it's our job to not only affirm our spouses and one another and empower ourselves, but our children. Empower them. Speak to the gifts inside of them. Even when they're acting up, even when they're doing things that you don't agree with, speak to the gifts inside of them. Identify their call. Allow them to do things that you may not say. Maybe your child, you have your strict schedule, and maybe your child likes to run track. And I know I'm a sports mom. I'm a musician. My children are musicians, and it's so much to do. But we have to allow that little bit of sacrifice, so that they can explore different things and to learn who they are. Yes, they come from us, but they're not us.
Wow, that's real good. Because listen, I realized after my son went and saw his therapist, and he went through his therapy year. He went through a whole year of seeing someone. He then came out of there whole enough to tell me the truth. Okay. And so I am still transparent, but I am only transparent with what they have given me the agreement, the okay to share. Does that make sense? That just because my life is public doesn't mean I can take their life and make it public. Because listen, let me tell y'all something. As a pastor type, I was out here in these streets telling everything that was going on because I just wanted everybody to be okay. And I was being the sacrificial lamb. Listen, they was like, you can be the lamb. we gonna be the ram in the bush. Okay? When we want to be found or discovered or discussed, we will become the ram. You be the lamb. We gonna be the ram. Okay? And that's how that transpired. So now on my social media page, I'm not as open. And listen, they was like, baby, you ain't no influencer. That's what they wanted to tell me. You could be a content creator, but you're not an influencer. Okay. We want you to influence yourself to hush. And so okay. And so that's kind of like how that went, with my older children. My younger children, like I said, Caleb as a younger child loved to be exposed. But it came a time where his mannerism changed and some things were off limits. And so my younger children, they love exposure. They love it. They just like me right now. But listen, remember I said my husband was a shy one as a child. And so they may transition that way. But I have to give them room to grow. I love all of that you said. Did anybody like that? Give me some snaps in the chat. Come on, that was real good. I know y'all got help right there. Right there, we got help. Okay. Now I want to talk about practical tools at home again. Okay. I want to talk about a regulation toolkit, right, for families, like breathing techniques, grounding, movement, things that they can implement at home too with their children, right? Not just with themselves, because we already talked about what they can do. I want to talk about what parents and children can do um, in family settings. Because if you allow me to just give this example, I will. I would say when it was just me and my husband in the home, and we had a heated discussion, um, I wanted to deal with it now. Okay, you ain't gonna play with me. We gonna talk right now. And my husband's like, it's best you give me 20 minutes and let me walk down the street and come back. So nobody goes to jail for a domestic dispute. Okay. I've been I've been married 26 years, about to be 27 years. So y'all don't start spreading no rumors. Okay. I said it started with 4 children. We got 4 now. So that was one of our techniques, that he needed to leave the atmosphere, leave the space, go for a walk, and come back. So what kind of regulation tools you can give us for trauma informed care?
And I think that that's really important as married couples, and that takes maturity and time. Because Dr. Barnum, I don't know about you, but I will chase that man down. I used to chase him down, and we finna talk. I'm ready to talk. And he's like, I'm not ready to talk. So maturity says different, right? But so we'll talk about spouses first. So a tool that spouses can use, they have different games that spouses can play, right? On apps, on Amazon, little cards and stuff like that, to get to know one another. There's an app that me and my husband have now, and it's a game. You play a game, and they respond to the game, and you guys go over it. Oh, and it's so funny. It's so cool. It's so many different things that we have with technology to get to know one another, right? Because to get to you're always learning your spouse, always, and it also helps with the intimacy in your marriage. And so when you get to learn each other's way that you communicate in different ways, that you show your availability and your boundaries, and all of that is important, right? And so that's for your couples, right? Talking, having that time alone, setting boundaries with your children to, okay, well, mom and daddy are having this time, voicing it, not just expecting them to know. Mom and daddy need to talk. Mom and daddy will come see about your need after mommy and daddy talks, right? You're set. They're safe. They're in the house. There's nothing wrong, nothing going on. The house ain't on fire. Y'all good? Okay, well, what you're going to do is wait for mom and dad to finish talking. Okay, those are boundaries that we set, right? As married couples. Dating, always date one another. I'm gonna go into this whole thing. Dr. One's gonna take a whole nother line to talk about. But
I want to tell you though that was my next question. I was going to ask you for 3 responses that parents can give children during the time of needing to endure, and you just did that. So listen, the Holy Spirit all up in this. Okay, can we be prophets tonight? Okay.
Okay.
My next question for you though is repair after rupture. What does that look like for a parent after a parent and a child after the parent has lost their patience with their child? You know,
Mhm.
how do we repair? What do we do?
Patience, patience. Have the hard conversation. Allow. Um,
What does that look
to,
like? Give me an example. So
so sitting.
I
So
didn't
sitting.
report card is bad. I'm going off and say you only got one job. Go to school and I had to put
Mhm.
you out and send you with your grandparents, and they in the
So,
room contemplating.
so, so the repair after that. Are you asking like what does that look like? The child coming back and
Our parents
repairing.
that, yeah. How does
So
that?
what that looks like is having acknowledging that your approach as a parent might not have been the right approach, and that's hard, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is acknowledging the fact that your child, okay, with your child, that act, whatever they did was wrong. So accountability. So that has to be a conversation. All right, you're coming here and setting rules and regulations in your house. That setting rules and having regulations and doing all of these things is not something that is going to traumatize our children. That's not gonna trauma. We have to understand having those conversations with our children. What did something hurt your feelings? There's a difference between your feelings being hurt and you being traumatized. And so we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna have that hard conversation. So if your child comes back and there was a rupture, if you want to fix this rupture, we have to both acknowledge the fact that we both could have possibly been wrong. But my reaction was, in fact, of something that you actually did. So let's address this. We can address this and still love one another, still hug on one another, and get some help and get some therapy, some counseling, and some family counseling, some family therapy. But what happens is a lot of times the parents some parents tend to take it all on. And they're like, well, I know I probably reacted the wrong way. Okay, but you reacted like this because something happened. And that's okay. Address it. It's okay to address it. Us addressing our children is not traumatizing to them unless it is traumatizing, if that makes any sense.
So how do we map out triggers without shaming one another? Like you just said,
Mhm.
something happened. It triggered me. How do I map that out or control that so I don't tell him he's stupid, he dumb, and he ain't gonna be nobody.
Don't do that, Dr. Vaughn. Okay.
I don't do that, but I'm just telling you, it happens, girl. I'm gonna tell you
Yeah.
like, can I tell you that every time, as a child, every time, my every time I would, get in trouble at school, I would be told something harsh. I'm just gonna be honest. Okay.
Mhm.
My first word curse came from home.
Mhm.
Y'all ain't gotta like that, okay? And not until I became an adult, I was able to get delivered and healed from them. Okay. So I'm not oblivious to the fact that parents, we say some stuff when we trigger and when we mad. Okay. So how do I keep my words from shaming him and blaming him and condemning him, but yet still telling him that I'm serious or telling her?
You got to do the work. You got to realize, I think a lot of times parents don't want to do the work. They don't want to look inside and see that we've done something wrong. So the self-reflection and doing the work, because if it triggered us, then that means something happened that we didn't deal with. Something happened to us that we did not heal from. Something happened to us that we did not stay in the process to endure, to figure out, why am I responding like this, right? So the self-work has to be done first. And therapy, because that's a behavioral change. Watching over your words, saying what we're saying, it's a thought first. It comes from somewhere. And if somebody, for instance, this is an example. If a child is consistently scared as a child, say their father or their mother hops out of nowhere and scares them, and they don't like that, right? And that consistently happens. As an adult, if somebody does that to that person, they might snap. If their child does it to them, they might snap. And their child is like, well, I'm just playing with you. Like, what's going on? They have not realized that comes from a time they didn't have a voice. So now as a child, that all that unhealed trauma coming up, some people might say, well, that's silly. Like, your father was just playing with you. Your mother was just playing with you. But that child didn't look at it like that. So now they're an adult and they're having a child reaction to somebody popping up and scaring them, right? And so that's something that causes us to self-reflect. So if I'm talking to my child and I'm calling them all kinds of names and I'm doing all of this, they're triggering me because first off, don't disrespect me, right? Don't disrespect me as your parent, right? But even in the disrespect, we have to still model respect because they're getting what we're giving. Now, I don't have to cuss. I don't have to do all of that. But they're going to get the side of me they're not going to want. And that's okay because disrespect is disrespect.
And the Bible says, do not provoke your children. Parents, do not provoke your children to anger. So you can still discipline them without provoking them.
Without provoking them. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, I'm going to say this. Now, you use one of them little nice ones from the Partridge Family of popping out and scaring them. But I'm going to tell you that my mama and whooped me almost every day I was in elementary school. I would come home, I would get a whooping every day, every day. So as an adult, I didn't like people, you know, husbands do this to their wives all the time, pat them on the butt. I don't like it. Don't hit me on my butt like you finna give me a spanking or the birthday thing. You're gonna get 47 licks because it's your 47th birthday. Don't touch me like that because it used to trigger me as an adult. I was like, listen, my mama whooped my tail so much that if you touch me with a play hit, now that I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna snap. Okay. And so I just want to give a low hanging fruit example because she gave one of them little nice ones from the what's that, Little House on the Prairie? Okay, popping out and scaring you. But I'm gonna give you one from the other side of the tracks. Mm-hmm. Kids who were abused, okay, physically, mentally, emotionally, those things that they remember will trigger them. And that's something that I try to tell people in ministry. Don't treat me like your last leader who hurt you, right? They be like, you remind me of Pastor so and so. I said, well, you didn't get delivered from Pastor so and so because she ain't here. Okay, this is me. And if every leader that you go to, they remind you of sister so and so that supposedly hurt you, it maybe it wasn't sister so and so or Pastor so and so, it was you. Okay, because I really ain't her. I don't even know the lady. You know, but I'm just saying those are trauma experiences for people, like you said, from their past that trigger them in their present, and they turn around and take it out on the new season or the new people that have entered their life. And so it's important that they get therapy. Now I want to talk about real world scenarios. Now, you know, you're going to be like, what are you doing to me, Dr. Delilah? Why are you doing this? Y'all, I'll be taking her on through that. Okay. So tonight I want to talk to you about temper tantrums. Okay. A child comes home from school and they are having a tantrum. How does a parent endure and respond differently than trying to find an outcome to fix it, like giving a child what they want? Give me that.
So it depends on the child's age, right? It depends on external factors. If a child under the age of 10 is having a tantrum, right? You pick them up from school. First of all, you want to make sure that they're okay. Make sure that there's nothing wrong, nothing going on. And I like to say tantrums look different. So we'll say like, what do you want to, like somebody, they're screaming, hollering, you know, just having like an outburst kind of thing. First and foremost, you want to make sure that you get them under control. It's okay to say, okay, what we're not going to do is that. Let's breathe. Let's talk. What's going on? Because you can't get anything out of them unless they're going to talk to you. The tantrum has to happen. Now, what I say, depending on where you are, if you're home, let them have the tantrum. Let them have it because you're not going to get anything out of them. If they're having a tantrum, let them have it and then correct the behavior. You have to have a conversation. Discipline your child. I'm not going to sit up here and say, don't discipline your child. The Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child. Discipline the child, right? I'm just going to say that, right? And then talk to your child about what is going on. Do we need to see a therapist? Do we need to talk to a counselor? Is something bothering you? Because you just came from school and you're having a temper tantrum. And if I tell you that you can't have something and you're having a temper tantrum, then positive reinforcement has to happen after the discipline. Discipline include positive reinforcement. It's a it's proven knowledge that when we have something to look forward to, we tend to have better not outcome, but we tend to endure better, right?
Okay.
So discipline your child. Obviously, don't obviously that there are limitations to that, but discipline how you see fit and give positive reinforcement. But sometimes the temper tantrum has to happen. It
Yeah.
has to happen. Let them cry it out. Let them do whatever until they get tired of doing it. And now, okay, are you ready to talk? Because what was all of that for?
Yeah. Wow, that's
Mhm.
good. We let babies
Absolutely.
do it. We do it to babies. Why can't we do it to the ones that can talk now? Right?
Mhm.
They be like, let
Mhm.
that baby cry. It's gonna make her lungs strong.
Mhm.
Right? Sometimes you have to
And
let them have the temper tantrum so they can realize that there are boundaries and limits to come on, behavior things that have to happen in order to get what you want. So that my next scenario is going to come from co-parenting or separated adults in a marriage. Okay, um, how do they share the trauma informed experience? What's the playbook on that? How do they deal with that?
so I've spoke to parents that co-parent, and the main thing that I hear a lot is, "Oh, I don't talk to her, or I don't talk to him. My kid has a cell phone. I call my kid. I talk to my kid like that." That is the wrong way. That's the wrong approach. You have to be communicative. You have to talk, because without communication, you can't approach anything. You have to have communication, and then you also have to be on the same page. Um, if if certain rules are set in one person's house, they have to be set in the other person's house. Consistency is important for a child, especially children from young children up until the age of 18. And if you're co-parenting, consistency is important because a child can become manipulative and can use you two against each other, right? And so it's important to know that consistency and communication must be at the forefront, the forefront of co-parenting. You got to be on the same page. Um, I like family outings, even though you might not be together. Spending time together with your child is important. It's important for your child to see a healthy relationship on both. Even when you're not together, you may be divorced, you may be split, maybe separated, maybe just co-parenting, maybe married and still co-parenting. That's a blended family. To see everybody together on a healthy relationship will benefit your child.
So faith-based communities and churches, how can they be better trauma informed?
That is a wonderful question. I actually am in the process now of providing services to churches and to businesses and on communication and trauma informed psychoeducation because schools need it, churches need it, businesses need it. Because if we think about morale, right? If we approach morale differently in certain settings, our mental health, we're in a mental health crisis and we've been in a mental health crisis for so long. But the mental health crisis could be addressed in just sitting down and talking about trauma informed care, trauma informed approach. What's going on? What happened to you? What happened? What happened? And then the more we say, what happened to you, we can figure out what happened and we can try to alleviate the symptoms and then try to not allow it and try to prevent it from happening to that person, to re-traumatization or to somebody else by putting something in place that says, ding, 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 no, we're not going to do that because this is the outcome. Doing surveys, churches, businesses do mental health care surveys. We talk about the whole person, especially in dealing with holistic care in churches. We forget a lot in spiritual places or churches that we are not only spirit but we're flesh. We have to address practice. Listen, there are practical ways to address things, and we have to learn how to mesh the two. the spiritual aspect and the practical aspect, the biblical aspect and the practical aspect. We open our Bibles, we can see practical ways that we can address certain things. So having workshops in churches, there are grants that if you're a 501c3 as a church, you can obtain, right? There are certain rules and regulations, that you have to abide by as a 501c3, as a church, as a congregation, when you bring mental health care workers in, retreats, just different ways to bring in people. Listen, we have, like you mentioned earlier, Dr. Varner, we have the people. We have the people. Now we have to go out and get the people. We can supply the need in the kingdom. We can supply the need, but we have to make sure we have to go out, reach out, come together. We have this mind frame that we can do everything on our own. We have to reach out and collaborate with one another, like we're doing tonight. Collaborate with one another. Say, hey, I'm having a workshop this night. Would you like to join us? I'm having somebody come in and talk about trauma-informed care. We're going to pass out pamphlets. We're going to do a workshop once a month, every Thursday, every Wednesday. You know what I mean? There are hospitals and clinics that have information on certain topics that have to do with mental health care, right? We have to stop. We have to allow where to go out and spread the word, spread the gospel, get the souls, right? But the souls are suffering from mental health. How are we going to address the mental health aspect? We have to. We can't just address one part of this problem. It's a whole problem. It's an issue. And many people sitting in the church are dealing with mental health and mental illness.
So can I say this? Okay. I wasn't gonna say it, but I'm gonna say it. Okay. Can y'all please stop having these conferences and don't have nobody there to help these people once they get up off the floor from throwing up and snotting everywhere? Can y'all have Kristina come and make sure that they are mentally ready to go home without their demons? Because if they get free and they don't have the response or the instructions or the reaction to go home without their pet that they had when they came into the conference, they gonna go back and pick him or her back up, and they gonna become the demon that you wish you had never known. Because the Bible says that once the demon is released, okay, it comes back to see if the place is still open, okay, for services. And they come back with 7 other spirits more deadlier than the one that left, okay? And so they need Dr. Kristina to make sure that they are going to be able to have strategies and tools to go home. Stop having these conferences and these retreats and all this stuff and not having what is necessary. The Bible says he have given us all spiritual blessings. We've been equipped, okay? The people of God have been equipped, but we don't want to come together. So now we got to go outside of the church and pay people who don't even really serve our God, who don't even love our God, okay? Don't even like us, right? We got to go pay them, and we getting the strategies from the world when we could invest in our own. Okay. Y'all ain't got to like that. Praise God. Y'all don't like the fact that the real power is knowing how to live right with what God has invested in you. Okay. The kingdom that's within you, if it's invested in, okay, which is Dr. Kristina, if we willing to bring her alongside of this great anointing that we got, because we so anointed, Dr. Kristina, okay, that we're not willing to get the instructions that is necessary for the anointing to flow. And so I'm willing to partner with you. Listen, when I saw you and all these people was in my inbox talking about, can you counsel me for my marriage? I was like, absolutely not. I don't even like doing it. Okay. Because can I tell you something about it? The truth, Dr. Kristina, is that once I started counseling these people in their marriages, that stuff started manifesting in my marriage. And I was like, God, you're gonna have to send me a marriage counselor so I can send them over there to the left. Okay? Because I listen, I can do it, but do I want to do it? No. Okay, I feel like I done had my share of it, but that's her grace. That's what she's been graced for. And so there's no way I could have brought Increase Magazine to the forefront and not had somebody come and speak on family and marriages. I love you and I thank you for it, right? What I want to say to you, my last and final thing that I want you to answer, and then I'm going to give you the floor to say whatever you want to say to the people, okay? I want to ask you, can you give us one myth that you can, a myth to families about trauma informed care? What's one myth that you can break for us tonight in regards to it? A stigma that may, people may feel like if I go and talk to a therapist, my business gonna get out there. Give me something that we can tell the people, like what you thinking is not the truth. Okay, can you break that down for them tonight?
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Dr. Varnum. You're so sweet. Um, I would say a myth about trauma informed care is that um, it re traumatizes you. As therapists, and it can, if you don't seek the correct help. As therapists, it's something that we desperately try intentionally not to do. We don't use anybody's information against them. It is truly a judgment free zone. Therapy is a place where someone can come and be open and truly themselves and vulnerable. It's not a place where it's combative. It's a place where it can be seen as a safe place. So where you can come and you can vent and you can talk and you can show your emotions that you're afraid to show anyone else, right? And so therapy is for you. It's person centered. It's driven by the client, the patient, right? And then also, it's not about being soft and gentle, right? As a family. So sometimes people say, "Well, trauma informed and care, I gotta." No, it's okay. No, you can be firm and still not traumatized. You can still be direct and still not traumatized. You can still be these things and get your point across, right? It's just the way and the method of how you do it. But trauma informed care and therapy is really focused on you as a person, as a whole person. Come and empty out, come and fill your cup, come and get the help that you need because at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. So, yeah, it's not about making you feel bad or making you traumatized or anything like that. It's about your care and identifying your trauma and identifying a way to help you.
Y'all, this is our therapist. This is Increase Magazine marriage and family therapist, Dr. Kristina Johnson. She's been with us all 2025, giving us what we need, right? And if you have not picked up every last issue of 2025, you need to go get it because Dr. Kristina is in it. Okay. And she has given us great information. Listen, our next issue is coming out in 5 days. Somebody say 5 days. The next issue is coming out, right? October 5th. We will have the next issue on the shelf. You need to go and pick it up. Dr. Christina is in there. I want her to tell y'all a little bit about what she's writing in there. I don't want her to tell it all. Let me give her that disclaimer. And I'm about to give her the floor so she can tell y'all who she is, how to find her, how to sign up for her services. She'll do virtual counseling sessions, marriage and family. Listen, whatever you need, let her help you. Okay. Especially if you are, listen, whether you're a veteran, whether you're still on active duty, whether you know somebody, your mama them was in the military, she can help you. Okay. And I want to give her the floor. It's in your hands.
Thank you, Dr. Arnold. I want to address the first thing as far as military. So I am, like I said earlier, a veteran, and I am also a disabled veteran. So many people may not know that of me, but I also help veterans get their disability claims. So if you are a veteran and you are looking to get some assistance with your e-benefits, your VA disability claim, contact me. You can reach out to me at my website at www.wellofhopecares.com. You can reach out to me on Facebook at Kristina Johnson or my Instagram at Kristina N _Johnson. If you need some help in that aspect. Right now, I am also preparing for a marriage retreat and looking around August 2026. And so look for that information to come out soon. It's an in-person event, and I am looking to have at least 6 to 8 couples. So look for that information to come out soon. And thank you so much for joining. I actually had an amazing time this evening. I hope that each of you took away some great takeaways. Know that there's help. You don't have to suffer alone. You don't have to suffer in the dark. The mental health stigma is slowly but surely going away. And so reach out for help. Reach out. Also, remember endurance over outcome. In the process of healing, it's not a destination. Remember, if you don't remember anything else, remember the process of healing is not linear. Trauma is not linear. It's very broad, right? And your trauma deserves, you deserve time in healing for whatever trauma that is. If you were a child and you were traumatized for whatever the reason, you deserve time and opportunity to talk about your trauma. You deserve opportunity to heal. And time, they say time heals all. I don't go by that mantra, only because time is infinite. And so when we think about endurance, we think about enduring the process to enjoy the promise. And so just endure, stand still and know that the Lord is who he says he is. And we can do all things through him that strengthens us. So thank you so much for joining us. If you need to reach me, you have my social media outlets and you have my website at www, once again, .wellofhopecares.com. Thank you so much for being with me this evening.
So, Dr. Kristina, we can't let you go that easy, okay? We are coming into October, November, and December. Those are called holiday months, okay? So we need something for free. What you got for the free? We get give us a 15, 30-minute session. What you got? What we got?
Okay, so so yes, I have actually on my website. I have to go change it because right now I'm offering free consultations for $50, but I'm willing to do them free, 15 to 20-minute consultation for free. So if that's what you desire.
How many we getting?
How many?
How many we getting? 1 or 2?
I give 3. I give 3.
Oh my gosh, this is big. Oh my gosh, she giving away 3 consultations, so we got to do something for these, okay? If you want one of those free 15-minute counseling sessions with Dr. Kristina, you're going to do 3 things. The first thing you're going to do, you're going to go follow her, okay? You're going to tell us where to follow you. The second thing they're going to do, what you want them to do? What you want them to do? What's the second thing you want them to do?
Inbox me.
Inbox her, okay? Okay. They can't get it for free. They gotta follow. That you gotta know. You got a newsletter or email list.
Yes. You can email me at wifely approach, which is WIFELY approach, all one word, at gmail.com.
Okay. So the first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna go follow her personal page. You're gonna follow her business page, and the third thing you're gonna do, you're gonna inbox your email address and your first name and your phone number and say I won. Okay, those are the 3 things you're gonna do if you want one of these free counseling sessions. Okay, all right, because y'all need it. Okay, I'm telling you right now, you need it. Go and get it. Go and see where your markers are and the things that you need to work on. Okay, all right. I'm gonna put it in the chat. And I'm also going to tag my followers. So if you don't follow the instructions, you do not get the free session. Okay. All right. Dr. Kristina, we love you. We thank you so much for being here with us tonight. You've been amazing. Okay. All 2025. And we're excited to see what's coming out of this. God bless you. Thank you for joining Increase Plus.
Thank you so much for having me. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.